Welcome to the Spirit Sessions podcast. I'm your guide, Katie Silcox, bringing you your weekly self-love soundbite. Join us, where I'll help you find your true spiritual home, where every single aspect of you is holy ground, holy ground, holy ground, holy ground.
This is Spirit Session Podcast with Katie Silcox. Venga chicos, empezamos.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hi everyone, Katie here. This podcast is intended to inspire you, educate you, and most importantly, support you on your journey towards knowing who you really are, that inner self, that inner teacher. I am not a psychologist or a medical doctor and do not offer professional health or medical advice on this podcast. If you are suffering from any kind of psychological or medical issue, please do the right thing and seek help from your qualified health professional. Everyone, I am so honored today to have Claire Ragozzino on the Spirit Sessions podcast. Claire is an Ayurvedic practitioner. She has an extensive background in holistic nutrition and natural cooking. Like so many of our teachers, she has a background in yoga, Ayurveda, and a woman of my own heart, a real effort at bringing these ancient methodologies to the modern woman. She is also the author of the best-selling book, Living Ayurveda, a comprehensive Ayurvedic cookbook and lifestyle manual. I've seen your book, Claire. It is so beautiful. Huge congrats on the book and welcome to Spirit Sessions.
Thank you, Katie. It's so nice to be here and in such good company. And congratulations too on your new release.
Thank you.
I know books are a labor of love and there's a lot that goes in alone behind the scenes. And so big congratulations on that birth
Thank you.
into the world.
Yeah, it's, when you've written a book, you get it. It is a huge output, and yet so much input as well. I've received so much love since it's been published. So it's definitely a two-way road, as I'm sure your book is as well. So
Absolutely.
Claire, our listeners know we have a year-long school. You're in our level 1 curriculum. And I literally specifically told my staff, I want us to have someone to come in to teach on cooking. And you have a class in Shakti School called Embodied Nourishment. Tell us a little bit, before we get into kind of your story and your journey, what does embodied nourishment mean? And how is that different from regular old nourishment?
For me, embodied nourishment is about being in direct communication with myself and not having to look out towards whether I'm eating the right macronutrients or whether protein is good and fat is bad and carbs are good and this is bad. And, all of the noise that is within our modern world now of food, there's a lot of dietary confusion. And I have come to this Ayurvedic lineage as a way to get clear on what my relationship to myself is and to food. And so I really see embodied relationship as a constant communication with my needs and a practice of listening and a practice of also honoring what I need in this time, because who I was 10 years ago is not who I am now, and it's not where I am at in the stage of my life. And so I believe as Divya Alter says that Ayurvedic food is about eating what is right for you right now. And I think that that's what embodied nourishment is. It's about being in constant communication with yourself and not being stuck to the lists and the labels of what eating can be.
Yeah, it's like such music to my ears. And one of the reasons we love having you in the school, and one of the impetuses forward towards what I've coined feminine form Ayurveda, and why I kind of had to come up with a nomenclature around the way that we approach Ayurveda is that and we get these students or interested people ask us this question, like, well, isn't Ayurveda all about these food lists and doshas and food rules and food lists and food rules? And I'm like, yeah, it kind of is in a lot of the way that we could say it's been translated throughout time. And we're kind of returning back to that, what you call embodied nourishment, I call like big mama medicine, where
I love that.
we throw the lists out the window, but at the same time, we hold them in our other hand. It's like masculine and feminine of, we get that question a lot, like, is Ayurveda going to exacerbate my eating disorder or my food obsession issues?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we always
And
say,
I have seen it exacerbate that when you approach it with the
yeah,
wrong view. Yeah.
yeah,
And I've been there myself.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
have compassion for that.
right.
Having, and I'm sure you've been there too.
Yeah.
It's easy to, I think it's human, it's in our nature to want to get things right, because when we get things right, we feel like we can control the outcome.
Mm,
And when we know, okay, I'm going to do that again, then X, A plus B equals C. But for me, big mama medicine, which I love, our embodied nourishment is like, hey, it doesn't always, it's not always the same experience every time. So you can learn the lists. And I think the lists are really helpful when you are learning.
helpful, super helpful. Yeah.
And then you get to use your senses. So, if you take a cherry, for example, a cherry, if it's picked right at 80 degrees, is like this perfect sweetness. It bursts in your mouth. It gives this like sense of, luscious summer satisfaction. And then you pick a cherry at the wrong time and you get another one in the same bag. And oh my God, it's sour. Your mouth is like puckering. Your face is like, oh, I don't really like that. And you eat a whole bunch of sour cherries. And what happens? You're overheated.
Mm.
And that sense of like, okay, but cherries are supposed to be this, but I'm experiencing this. I think it's important to look at the lists and the rules and to get to understand that language